We are live. Greetings and salutations. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining in. This is a very, very special treat for you guys, not only because it's Valentine's Day, but also for me because I love talking to these two individuals on a regular basis, just about life, love, joys, pains, funnies, YouTube clips, whatever the case may be. I enjoy talking to them on a regular. So we are going to get through this interview like mature adults, God willing. But we are definitely here to for them to share their thoughts and their knowledge and their level of professionalism regarding something that's really big. The name of this episode is called "What About My Love." I'm Brysen. Thank you guys for tuning in. You know, I kind of got my own little brand now, Sweet Spot Media. I'm trying to make some things happen individually and, also continue to work with the awesome beings that I've been working with collectively on other media labels. But this is Sweet Spot Media. This show is called What About My Love? What about my love, you ask? Okay, good question. So there is this song, a nice uppity R&B song, that kind of uppity bluesy R&B song, upbeat, that kind of came out in the 80s. Artist named Johnny Taylor. We know him, those folks of the culture who are just cultured and listen to a variety of music. He was a big time blues artist. Passed away some years ago. His music still, lives on. So there's this song called What About My Love? I listen to this song all the time. Johnny Taylor is on my Spotify, at least 5 or 6 songs. And this song is heavy in rotation. I listen to the song. Like I said, it's upbeat. And you hear the words. I am a person who listens for lyrics. But at the same time, when it's got a nice little beat, sometimes, the beat will drown out the lyrics. So one particular day, it just stood out to me. His song, What About My Love? It says, what about my love? It seems you have forgotten of. I do believe that something went wrong somewhere. What about my feelings? Do they mean anything at all? Going in and out of the changes of life with you. Now that you got my love, now you want to put me down. That's deep. So when it just stood out to me a couple of weeks ago, I immediately text the phenomenal Angel Simmons and I said, listen to this. She was like, I know the song. I said, I know. I said, but listen to it. And she listened and she was like, ooh, 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 X, 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 X. I can't tell you everything she said. But that's how we came up with the title of this show, because I don't want to call the song simple. I don't mean simple in derogatory terms, but for something that we constantly hear, something that I guess could be a continuous habit. We listen to it all the time, or when it comes on the radio or in rotation or on Spotify or whatever list you listen to, you're like, oh, that's a little, finger snapper, foot stomper, and you keep on going. It stood out. It spoke volumes. It leads us back to this topic for the evening. So I want to take the time right now to introduce, I know that was a long, bring it in, but I had to let y'all know where I was coming from, so people won't be like, oh, so what's the purpose? Why he picked that? Because y'all don't be half reading when we put stuff on the social medias or what have you, so you can be abreast of what's going on. So blessed to have with me.
Somebody know it.
Somebody talk. That's my mom. Hi, Mom. That's my mom. She said that's a cut. That's my mom. Out there in Vegas, where it snows in January. And another friend who's in Vegas, Mr. LeAnzar Stockley. Sir, greetings and salutations to you. A man of many gifts and professions and talents and everything. And I'll just try to kind of keep it short, but that's hard when you describe someone who's so phenomenal. So LeAnzarStockley.com. Um, thank you, Corey. Blessings to you too. LeAnzarStockley.com, Mr. Relationality, Soul Society 61, I Am Love for You, Identity Crisis, Relationality, Relationship Ready, and what's the name of the draws?
Underneath Bazaar.
Underneath Bazaar. Yo, this fella has everything. No, you could get everything from him. Go to his website, LeAnzarStockley.com, and you can find everything that he's doing. He is not a limited person. His branches extend to the fullest extent. So thank you for joining. Yes, come on, branches. Thank you for chiming in. He said he's just supervising this show, but it's not going to be like that because he has the knowledge that we need. He is Mr. Relationality. Oh, Pastor Corey, let me put a handle on that. Greetings, Pastor Corey. You got to put a handle on it. You got to put a handle on it. I didn't know. My apologies. Thank you, Angel.
He know us.
Yeah. Okay. Greetings, Pastor.
He know I'm in here chaperoning.
Okay, so now that means, see, that guides me in a whole, completely different direction. Thank you.
He good.
Thank you. Let me put the cap on there. Shout out to my dear friend Belitza. Oh my gosh, Belitza is a former co-worker turned into friend, turned into family, and she's on here. And Belitza does amazing things. You guys will meet Belitza one day. But Belitza, thank you for tuning in. Lee, you're here because you're the relationality expert. And all of this is going to circle back around. Don't look like you're confused because you're the relationality expert. You're the one got degrees and certifications in it and stuff. So don't look like who, me? Don't look confused. Hello, Murray. And then I also want to bring on, now this one, she got a whole bunch of titles. I had to write this down because even though you know your people, they still, when your friends are famous, you have to make sure you write your stuff down so you give them all their proper accolades. And so you guys know what they do. Angel Simmons, you can find her at angelsimmons.com. She is an author, advocate, actress, coach, columnist, model, producer, speaker, storyteller, and boss lady of The Message Inc. And she is my friend. And she is the facilitator and coordinator of tonight's events because she kept me on my toes. Do you understand? She kept me on my toes, calling, texting. I thought you was going to call me back tonight. Was tomorrow? When you said tonight, did you mean tomorrow night or 3 nights from now? She keeps me on my toes. And I appreciate that. And she pushes me to the limit. And I'm with that. So welcome, Angel, author, loves great design, a devotional. It's a 12-month devotional.
Yes. No, 52 weeks.
52. Ain't that the same thing?
52 weeks. Well, the covers say 52 weeks, so that's what we got to say.
Yes. So 52
tomato,
weeks.
tomato.
Right. Potato. I'm with it. Correct me, Jack. I'm with it. So it's a 52-week devotional, okay? And then also Target of Love regarding narcissistic abuse and narcissistic personality disorder. And that all loops back around to our topic. What about my love? So I want to read the song. I was, but then I'm gonna start singing, and they don't need.
We don't own the rights to this music.
I don't own it. See, then you got to deal with that.
No, we don't want to sit there.
Don't own the rights to this music. All of those things. But what about my love, Johnny Taylor? Google it. Whatever streaming device that you use, check the song out, and it's gonna be catchy. So you have to listen for the words. Don't get caught up in the rhythm and the beat. So before we get started, I want to read this this poem that I found. And again, Angel is like really my sounding board. And if it makes sense, she's going to tell me. And if it doesn't, she's gonna be like, oh well, Fran, you should probably So luckily, as of lately, when I send her stuff, she'd be like, whoa. So that just means I'm doing well. I want to
Very
read you
well.
what I found. Thank you. It's called You Fell, and I am no poet. I am no spoken word person. I am not that. I should have had one of you guys read it because this is what you guys do, but this stood out to me. Make sure you listen, guys. It's called You Fell, but I Broke. You fell in love with my flowers, not my roots. So when autumn arrived, you didn't know what to do. You fell in love with my sunshine, not my sky. So when darkness came, you disappeared from view. You fell in love with my waves, not my sea. So when the water diminished, you did too. You fell in love with my leaves. I fell for your whole tree. So when the ground began to break, I did too.
Mm, mm, mm.
So when I found that, it just I had heard a bit of it, and I heard one portion of it, maybe one paragraph of it, several times the other day, and that spoke volumes to me because it's amazing that you hear you know uh words the same words several times a day, something that you're not familiar with. It's one thing to hear a song the same several times a day, but these actual words and these phrases, and I heard it several times, and it just stood out to me, and it just etched a spot in my memory internally. And if this doesn't describe how relationships can sometimes, unfortunately, be one-sided, or the relationship, you ever find yourself, giving more than your partner, or you ever find yourself being convinced by your partner that they're going to do XYZ, they're going to be there for you, they're going to love you, they're going to hold you, they're going to mold you, they're going to do all of those things, and kind of convincing you to be comfortable, kind of convincing you to release, kind of convincing you, hey, it's okay to love me because I got you. And when you do all of those things, then vamoose, right? That's what Johnny Taylor is referring to in his song. What about my love? Now that you got my love, you don't even come around. Now that you got my love, now you want to put me down. And there's a part in the song, he said, what kind of way is that to treat a man who gave all that he never, never, never had?
Mm.
So this is where the smart people chime in at. How, LeAnzar, I'll start with you. How do we define, or how do we define, how do we defend, how do we even, I guess, acknowledge these type of air quote relationships or these situations, or how do people get caught up in these type of things?
I think probably situation is a good for right now. Situations. I think situation would be a good word because it's not, relationships are something that is intended to be reciprocal, right? And it's intended to kind of flow together. But a lot of times we're in these situations, and how you were describing, we're in them seemingly alone or seemingly by ourselves. So situation is a good word to call it. Situation have we found ourselves in? And I think that we end up in them. And I think the answer to that may, of course, it may be different for different people, but the simple answer is that part on the inside of us that craves to have another. All right. And again, it doesn't even have to necessarily be romantic, but that part in us that's relational, that desires to be loved.
Yeah.
Right. And that's in everybody. You hear a lot of people talk about it in the negative way and say, oh, they're seeking love. Well, we all should be seeking love. Like it's at the very essence of our being. So when we hear those terms, we hear it negatively instead of hearing it as, yeah, of course, that's human design. Same thing with attention. Oh, they're seeking attention. Well, somebody should be paying you attention. We're on this planet, because we're relational beings at the very core of our being, no matter how much we try to get away from it. So we end up in a lot of situations sometimes because One, it's natural for us to gravitate in that way, all right? And this is what we were designed for. However, the situation ends up being the way that it is because not all of our eyes have been open to who we really are, what relationships really are for, and why we're actually on this planet. And when you enter into this type of thing with somebody that does not have that revelation, then we are asking the question, well, what about my love? What about my love?
Mm.
Yeah.
Can you speak more to what you said about people ought to want love? People ought to want to feel love. People ought to want to share love. And you said that's human design. I think so many people avoid love. Some people only know a one-sided type of love. So how do you know that there's more?
Mm-hmm.
Can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah. So pretty much, and most people, anybody that has followed me any duration of time understands that I believe that love is at the very essence and the very core of our being. It's our being, made in the image and likeness of God, the Creator, or universe, whoever you want to identify with this week. That's at the very heart of who we are. It's at the very heart of our being. It's how we grow. All right. We don't even realize that relationships are how we grow. All right. But they're also how we get hurt. All right. So it's almost like sometimes there's a chapter in one of my book, in the relationality book, that says, damned if I do, damned if I don't.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And it's like, and you are in these situations where if I get into a relationship, well, what if this person hurt me? And it's like, and 9 times out of 10, we're going to get hurt at some point. If you're dancing with somebody, they might step on your toe.
Mm-hmm.
All right. But it doesn't mean that you have to end the dance. It doesn't mean that you can never dance again, hopefully. But a lot of us have been damaged to the degree that now, instead of us being eyes for one another, we have eyes out for one another, like looking out for one another, when in reality, we should be looking to one another. All right. And now it's every man. If we move from this space of being in a thriving type of being to a surviving type of being. So now we're trying to survive our relationships. And the crazy part is we keep getting in them in some form. All right. Even if it's not the full on, I'm going to be fully committed or I'm going to be whatever, we get in them we'll open up the relationship. If it's a partnership relationship, we'll open it up so that we can, not feel as tied down because we're afraid of getting hurt, this is that and the other. But we are gravitated towards them. No matter how much we try not to be, we're gravitated towards these relationships. But the problem comes in is that most of us, a lot of us, all of us at some point have been misused, abused, violated, overlooked, or unseen, devalued, discounted, whatever, all of those things. So then what begins to happen is, so what happens is this part in our brain, it kicks in to that, the fight or flight.
Yeah.
And the part that survival mechanism in our brain, we enter into that mode of being because we're trying to save ourselves, preserve ourselves, keep ourselves. All right. So then that also creates putting up walls. It stops us from being vulnerable. It causes us to shift in our true identity and then become more of a sheltered sense of self or identity.
So how do I, and when I say I mean we, how do I break down those walls? Because nobody, like the old folks always told us when we were younger, keep running into that wall, you're going to get tired of it, you're going to hurt yourself and you'll stop.
Uh-huh.
So how do I even, I guess, trust myself enough to even extend myself again, maybe for the 3rd or 4th, 10th, 12th time, to even search for or be open to love.
Mm-hmm. And see the answer to this is going to be very sideways. All right. It's going to be find somebody like a grief and loss coach first to deal with the grief that you've experienced.
I know a great one.
I heard of one. She all right. No, she's good. She's good. She has really good stuff. But it's like sometimes you have to. It's trauma. You faced trauma, and you've also faced a loss of something. grief and losses. So you got to get that dealt with. But the other piece to remember, even when you're going to visit this coach or when you're going to deal with those areas of your life, is to realize, you said, how do I trust myself again? It's going to go back to this, realizing that you are trust. You are created for trust. We are in our being as relational beings. We are actually more created to trust. This is why the breach of it hurts so much. And what I find that people keep doing, and they're trying to get over stuff, is they try to abandon the nature of who they are. And they also try to apologize for the nature of who they really are. Nobody that has gone into a relationship and somebody betrayed you, you should not be apologizing for trusting them. But we do. And we blame ourselves for trusting them. So you're blaming yourself for being yourself. You're blaming yourself for being in touch with your divine sense of being. The blame shouldn't go on you for trusting. You were created for that. And you're not a mind reader. We expect people to be, oh, you should have saw this coming, or you should. Not all the time. Not all the time. Some things is big red flags, but some things you don't see coming all the time. And any of us at any point can change our mind on any given day for any given reason. So somebody could put a certain level of trust in me because they know that I say I am love for you. But I can change my mind tomorrow, or I can be out of my mind tomorrow and act outside of that. So it's like, the reality is, I think that one of the first things in, and as you say, trusting again, is to realize it and to become one with it again, and recognizing this is who I am, and I do not have to apologize for trusting a knucklehead. All right, because again, you're not God necessarily, in the sense that you knew they were going to breach. They may not have even known that they were going to breach at certain times. And that's a hard pill to swallow. But I found so many times people, in a lot of sessions that I've done with people, they apologize, or they're blaming themselves for trusting, or blaming themselves. Why didn't I see that? Why didn't I, whatever? Hopefully you were in your being. And within your being, in the way that it was created from a natural standpoint, you were created to trust these people. You were created for that. So if you don't come back to the center, you got to come back to the core of all of these things, because the details of course, will kill us. All right. But we got to come back to the core and never lose sight of the core. Even when you got to make certain adjustments with certain people or certain things, don't ever lose sight of the core. I was created for this. Because the moment you start feeling like you being a trusting being is a bad thing, you have now just joined sides with those that you are hurting from.
I feel like we should have like rounds, like the boxing matches where you ding, 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 and you go to your corner and you recuperate. Because this stuff is heavy.
It is heavy. It is very heavy. And I've said to people before, I'm not the one to have the conversation with if you're interested in having relationships based on this current programming of our society. When you're ready to have enlightened relationships, and I mean everybody, then I'm probably the one you find.
Right.
Because I you know what I'm saying? It's heavy. It is heavy. And it ain't all that easy to do.
And everybody, like, this is my friend. Like, I talk to him and he still blows my mind. You always got to keep people who are smarter than you and better looking than you. Now, I'm not going to say which one either one of them are today. But you always keep, it's only two of them, so you can switch it up. It's interchangeable, however you want to do it. But you always keep smart people, intelligent people, and good-looking
and light-skinned people.
Clearly.
You need to quit.
Clearly, I want to shout out everybody who's tuning in. Thank you for tuning in so much to Sweet Spot Media. This segment is called What About My Love? It's my pleasure to be with Miss Angel Simmons and LeAnzar Stockley. And feel free, everyone who's tuned in, it's like a whole bunch of people. So, hey, to everybody, feel free to leave your comments, your questions. If you need to vent, whatever, this is definitely the platform and the forum for it. I don't have the answers. I'm just here with this here dialogue, but these two might have something for you. If you're looking for him, You can find him at LeAnzarStockley.com. If you're looking for her, you can find her at AngelSimmons.com. See how easy we just make it for you? And if you just want to talk about being on my show or something, you can just hit me at the original Brysen on Instagram and we'll work it out.
It's the place to be.
It's the place to be. I want to shout out my dear friend Chris Bass. Boom shaka laka. I'm a bass fan. What's up, Chris? Make sure you tune in to Chris every week. CBI Chris Bass interviews, where he interviews some of the most amazing talent everywhere. Shout out to Chris Bass. Chris has been with me from maybe 2 steps from the very start, and he's always inspired and encouraged me. So, Chris, thank you. Thank you for tuning in. Appreciate your love and support always. Miss Angel Simmons.
Right.
Narcissists. Because sometimes we find ourselves maybe probably trying to implement that trust that you're talking about, trying to make sure that we don't treat this person like we treated the last person, or don't let our feelings roll over from our last relationship to our new relationship or situationship or entanglementship. So we wanna trust, but sometimes, we're jaded, we have the rose-colored glasses. Sometimes we are maybe too gung-ho, and sometimes we find ourselves getting caught up with people who, at the end of the day, really need us more than we need them, for whatever reason in their life. And a lot of people, we didn't grow up hearing about narcissism. I didn't hear about that till I was grown.
Right.
But we didn't grow up hearing about those things. So even the signs of what to look for, we didn't know. I didn't know till later in life. It was always sugar-coated. Well, his daddy, left them, or he passed when he was only 3, so he never had a father figure. Or, their mama was on drugs, and it's always some kind of cover, some type of shelter, some type of filter that, almost makes it okay, for this person to carry on in the fashion that they do, when really it's a whole scenario. It's a whole disorder. So how do we be true to ourselves and be that truth that LeAnzar is describing, and not get caught up with this person who just might be a leech, who might be a leech, and might not even be aware that they're a leech, but they definitely need you more than you need them. And I'm not going to lie, I've been in so many, I don't want to say so many, but I've been in a few situationships, and I mean just from friendships on, where after a while, after you reassess, after you refocus, you're like, dang, how did I let that go on for all that time? Because you're so focused on being you and being real and presenting your true self, and just kind of, being who God or whoever you believe in this week, like LeAnzar said, whoever God designed you to be. How do we work around that, Angel? Let's start with, and I know I just said a mouthful, break down what a narcissist is, please.
Well, for the regular folk who have not had to study that, we all understand givers and takers, users and abusers. We all understand that. You said leech. That's another good word for that. If we're describing narcissists, we're typically describing someone who is extremely selfish, self-centered, focused on their ego, their image, their needs, their wants, and they need it and they want it right now. And they need it and they want it right now from whoever it is that's going to give it to them. And the whoever it is the supply. So you understand supply and demand. A narcissist is always in demand of your supply. Typically people like us, and I say us because I know you all, but people who are generally described as lovers, givers, empathic, compassionate, kind, wear their heart on their sleeves. Those types of individuals are usually the ones that attract givers. Well, that usually attract takers and users and abusers, because you got a bunch of love to give, and they want it all. They see how generous you are with your time, your funds, your kindness. You open your home, you feed people, you're always donating something, you're serving, or you're in a serving capacity. They see that, and they know how much they can get from you based on your capacity to give. Um, there are a couple of different types of narcissists. We're talking about people that are just generally selfish, um, self-centered. Everything is based on self, egoism. Whatever they need it. They need it right now, and nothing else matters. They're more important. Their needs are more important. They're superior, which means someone always has to be inferior. So there's that. Put that narcissist on one corner, and then you have the person that has been diagnosed with narcissistic personality disorder. And here we're talking about 4 to 5% of people that actually get diagnosed with that particular personality disorder. That's a whole nother issue. And these are people who have a long-term pattern of this behavior. They meet 5 of the 9 characteristics, of this particular personality disorder. Some of this is not just a pattern of taking and abusing people all their lives. Some of this is an actual brain disorder. These are people who have been doing things the same way long enough for the pathways in their brain to change and dysfunction. So now this is what they do every time. This is their response every time. This is their behavior every time. Our brains are plastic. They do what we do. That's why they tell you, you generally takes 21 days to change a behavior. You have to do something that long in order for your brain to say, oh, we're working out now. Oh, okay. Okay, we'll just working out. It takes your brain a little while for you to change what you've been doing. So for people who've been selfish and stingy and abusive and takers all of their lives, by the time they're 40 something else, this is just what they do. And then you get those conversations, well, you know how he is.
Right.
No, you know how your mama is, no, I know it's wrong. And generally we can see from the outside, because it's much akin to a domestic violence situation. You can see it when you're outside of it and say, okay, that doesn't look right, or something is wrong, or why is she still with him, or why is he still with her, or why are they accepting that behavior? But when you're inside of it, you become used to so many things. You're either triggered by things, or you're trying not to trigger that person. So your behavior begins to change because you're in that situationship, or that, what was the word?
This is a whole word.
You're in that entanglementship.
All of it.
You're in the middle of it. You can't see your way out because you're just walking on eggshells. You're trying not to set off the bomb. You're trying not to, okay, I don't want an argument tonight. We're not gonna fight tonight. You just don't want to go there. So your behavior tends to change based on the response that you get from narcissists. So recognizing that behavior from the beginning, being able to see those red flags, to understand that this is not a healthy relationship. And there's either going to be a change here with the behavior, or I'm going to have to change and remove myself from the situation. That would be the first thing. You're aware, that self-awareness, that reflection, that revelation. He used a great word, discernment. If you want to be spiritual and deep, you need all of that. When you are in the middle of an abusive relationship, you need all those things to work together for your good, so that your mind can say, this doesn't feel good. I feel less than. Anything that makes me feel less than or inferior to someone else is unhealthy, and I need to change something. So either the behavior is going to change, or I have to remove myself from this situation.
Right.
Hmm.
Right. All while you're just trying to be, Lee, to your point, your authentic self. All while you're just trying to be your authentic and true self. Life is not easy, boys and girls. I will say that. Angel, I want
And
to ask
part of
you.
being authentic, part of being authentic is being able to recognize that and being able to be
Mhm,
honest with yourself and say, what I am receiving right now is not healthy.
mhm,
It's not
Hmm.
beneficial, and
Hmm.
it doesn't feel good. My body is actually responding negatively. This is a problem.
mhm. And you feel like
That's
you're on
part of being your
eggshells.
authentic self.
And it might not even be, the physical abuse. We're so used to hearing about the physical abuse. But, we oftentimes overlook the verbal abuse or, the emotional abuse that comes along with that. And you find yourself walking on eggshells, just trying to see if you want to present a concern to this person or just like, look, I know I fried the chicken last night.
Huh.
You know, is it cool if I bake it tonight? Like, you know, just like things that would be so regular.
Hmm.
You feel yourself afraid or apprehensive about even approaching that person to what could be the simplest thing. You know what I mean? Um, Angel, you made a comment about how the disorder is like in your brain, like locked into your brain. So do you believe, or just school us real quick, narcissism, is it a learned behavior? Is this is something that is in a child at birth, or is this something that's a learned behavior based on maybe lifestyles or experiences or whatever the case?
It can be both. It can be both. There have been studies of children. Um, when you go back to talk about abuse, and I really didn't want to bring up serial killers, but when you think about people who have patterns of abuse, if you track their childhood, they were abusing animals, they were abusing other children that were younger than them, they were bullies in school, they were setting fires, they were doing something. It's the same. So those children don't have learned behavior. It's not a long time pattern. That's something that was dysfunction in their brain.
So is it
For
genetic?
others, it can be. It can be. You are more likely to be diagnosed with that personality disorder if someone else in your family had it. So father to son, grandfather to son, or grandfather to grandson, and let's not leave out mothers. I don't want anyone to think it's just males. It's more predominant in males, but it does occur in women. I know most of the stories I've heard regarding women, it was their mother, or the grandmother in the family. It's a maternal figure. So
Mhm.
some of it is learned behavior or patterns of behavior, and some of it is just that brain. But if you go back and study those brains, you'll see they're different sizes, they're shaped differently. It actually changes. The brain of a narcissist does not look like our brains. It's obvious that there's a difference. So it's not just behavioral, it is biological. And however it starts, the end result is the same.
When you guys get a chance, for everybody that's listening, when you get a chance, there is a documentary, that describes or shows true narcissism at its finest. It's on Netflix, and I heard about it from a podcast that I was listening to. It's called "Don't F with Cats." It's on Netflix. It's called "Don't F with Cats." Now the name sounds a little would throw you off. I'll just say that. The name obviously throws you off and you'll be like, who wants to watch this? But I heard the synopsis on the podcast and I was like, I'm gonna go watch it. And I watched it. It's a trip. It's a 3 episode documentary. Very interesting. Narcissism at its finest. If anybody watches it, hit me up and let me know your thoughts. It's definitely worth talking about. But Angel, I wanted to also slide past you. Speaking of movies, Malcolm and Marie
I
is a
saw it.
new movie out. You saw it? Yeah, have you seen
I
it,
saw
Lee?
it. I
You
just
saw it
saw it
too?
the other day.
Soon as you
Okay.
text me, I pulled it
Yeah.
up.
Malcolm and Marie. So this movie features Zendaya, the young lady. She's phenomenal.
Phenomenal.
And she's just making her mark like swiftly. Like she's blowing through the woods. And what they call him Denzel's boy, but his name is John David Washington, but it's Denzel Washington's son. And he,
Really?
if you would say maybe got a late start in acting because he's almost 40, but he did it on his own. He didn't, he didn't fly, he didn't hang off his daddy's coattail. He did it all on his own, and he's an amazing actor. Malcolm and Marie, I'm glad you both have seen it. I want to know your thoughts individually on that movie. I think it was an amazing layout. You really have to pay attention. I love the way that it was designed. It was very unique. It was structured very uniquely. So what are your thoughts, Angel? I'll let you catch your breath. Lee, what are your thoughts?
I was hoping you was gonna start with Angel.
But I did.
but you didn't though. You didn't though. I thought it was phenomenal. I thought it was a very good movie. It was one of those movies that you're trying to figure out what's going on here.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what's really happening here? And it's the back and forth was some of what really I think stood out to me and recognized. And now, of course, my mind goes to it was about relationship, but it's like, of course, my mind goes to the relational aspect and the dynamics that we tend to have one with each other, but also the internal mental struggles that we have that surface themselves in how we relate to other people and in how we see them relating to us or whatever. So, but I thought it was great. I think it really left you, like I said, kind of one like, what's really happening? What's going on? What's really going on here? You know, so and I think we saw, I don't want to say necessarily diagnosis of things, but we saw tendencies for a lot of aspects of any of that. There was, some of the tendencies towards narcissism that could, be there. But is it narcissism or is it just I'm celebrating accomplishment? Is it that I feel like I'm overlooked from her? I feel like I'm overlooked, or am I just doing too much?
Right.
So I think it was all kind of in there, and it just leaves you with a lot of, to me, just left with like a lot of questions as to, man, what really just happened, and can I identify with any piece of this at any moment?
Yeah. I agree. Miss Simmons, your thoughts?
Man, look, I started reading. The article you sent, and I quickly go straight to the movie. Like I didn't want to hear the opinion first. I just wanted to see it. And from the first 6 minutes, I was like, "What kind of fight is this?" When I listen, I have been a part of. I've been in the middle of arguments that lasted for hours, but I've never been in an argument that kept starting over like that.
Seemed like it, right?
It just kept
like
starting
right?
over, and
it was because it was like and another thing,
and another thing,
and another thing.
And there was another part to that, and it just reminded me. You're talking about trauma and trauma bonding, and like LeAnzar said, is this abuse? Is this narcissism? Is his ego just really big? Is her self-esteem just that low? It was so many questions that I had the entire time. But the thing that stood out to me the most, when you're in a relationship. And there's always going to be conflict, and some conflict is healthy, because you're different people, and we're different people every 3 months. We're somebody else, so we're always going to be different people. But this particular couple, they didn't fight fair. Those arguments, and that's why your mama left you. It's like they just kept keeping it on. It's like I have never heard argument that went that far south. It was terrible.
And then he kept eating that rice. He kept eating that rice and that macaroni.
That macaroni.
It
She
pissed
said,
her
and you
off.
are you really talking to me like this while you're eating this mac and cheese that I just fixed for you? Oh my goodness. But I've never seen a fight that it was intentional to tear somebody down to their core. It seemed it was intentional, and he
Somebody
like, you
had
want
to
some more?
win.
You want some more? Oh, I got some more. You finished yet? Oh no, I'm just getting started. How do you talk to somebody that you claim to love and care for like that? It was beyond me. My mouth was on the floor the whole time I was watching this thing. And I had to go to work and it was 7 minutes left. I'm like, as soon as I get off, I put it right back on. Let me see the last 7 minutes, before I get on this here live. But my mouth was open the whole time. It was just beyond me how someone can how you can address the person that you spending your life with this way.
Right.
And y'all gonna get up in the morning. And then my last thought was, so how often do y'all do this?
Because I think on
That
the
was
show
new.
it said that they had been together 5 years. I think they
None of
alluded
that
to
felt new to
5
me.
years.
None of that felt new to me. It felt like this is their Friday night.
After the show.
And there's nothing healthy. There's nothing healthy about that. Every time they go to an event, this is what happens. She make mac and cheese. They fight for 6 hours. The sun comes up.
And we start a new day just to end up right
I
back
needed
at this
breakfast
point.
and that was over. I needed a whole breakfast and that was over. Because I've been here all night with y'all. Somebody gonna cook me something.
Right. I needed a drink. Like I felt like I just needed to have a drink for them on their behalf, just to maybe kind of smooth out the waters a little bit,
Look, they
because
were drinking enough. They didn't need no more drinking. They didn't need no more drinks.
his fuel was that mac and cheese.
But it started with that brown liquor.
Brown liquor.
It started with that brown liquor.
But overall, a great display of what happens when we have unresolved issues.
Mm-hmm.
See, they're gonna come out, and 9 times out of 10, and this is like Angel said, well, how can you say that to somebody that you love? 9 times out of 10, they're gonna come out with the one that you love. They're gonna come out with the people that's in your closest proximity, especially when some of it is dealing with them, because you're looking for this person that you're in love with, that you're in this relationship with. You're looking for them to. Sometimes you're looking for them to fix that. All right, to fix those issues, or to some people may say to cater to those issues. And for some people, if you're really maturing, you're looking to that person to help partner with you to overcome those issues, which sometimes that gets all muddy. It gets all mixed up. See, because those same issues could have came out in a enlightened relationship, but the way they approached talking about them would have been much different than just stabbing at each other.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
And fighting each other. But it's classic. It's classic unresolved issues, and not necessarily unresolved issues with each other, just unresolved things within ourselves, of how our own self-image, how we sense ourselves, how we have to show up in this world. There was a part of him that was angry that he had to show up in this world the way he did. All right. In order, when he was reading through the reviews of the movie, and in other words, I heard him just saying, why can't I just be what I am? And we don't realize how much in our society, how much we tack on. And this is why I start talking about personalities, because the masks you have to put on to deal with your relationship, to deal with society, to deal with whatever. If you lose sight of the core essence of your being in the middle of that, because your soul is screaming to just be itself, but then you got to go, I got to put this mask on in order to do, and it causes issues that are not resolved on the inside of, that are not at peace. And it comes out. And a lot of times, unfortunately, it comes out with the ones we love the most.
You guys go check out, if you have not seen, we get no coins for promoting this movie. It was just an interesting movie that was, I knew would be a meeting of the minds if we discussed it. But you guys go watch Malcolm and Marie. It's on Netflix, I think. Was it on Netflix, friend?
Yeah. What was the other one that you named earlier? I'm posting.
Netflix.
What about the cats?
Don't F with cats. So it's don't, and it's F * CUK with cats. So they call it Don't F with Cats when they promote it. And that's on Netflix as well. Very, very interesting. Very interesting. And I'm with two interesting people right now. Two of my faves, I must say, two of my faves. And they have worn on me and they have grown on me. And what I love even more about them is that they encourage and they support me. And somehow, it all ends up being funny, but in an understanding way. And our understanding way is a whole trip. And
for sure,
nobody could ever understand our understanding way. I guess that's why it's ours. Certified.
Look, understood need not be explained is what they say.
Period. Certified relationality specialist, LeAnzar Stockley, author as well, a man of many things. Miss Angel
I was
Simmons.
supposed to write certified. Oh, I should have put certified Greenfield Law School.
Okay. I just put Brysen on mine.
I had Czar. I just had Czar, and I was told that I couldn't have that.
Oh,
the producer told me.
The producer told you?
Yeah.
Oh.
The producer told me you need another name up there. I said,
she didn't tell me to change mine. She just told me to hurry up and get on.
Because it's your show.
Oh.
You do what you want.
I'm Brysen. That's Angel Simmons, grief and loss coach. Everything. Check her out at angelsimmons.com. Certified. Because they got their papers. They do. This is not just something that
we're not just throwing out titles here.
Yeah,
I got it.
We're not just sitting up on a Thursday night talking about, let's talk about this, let's talk about that. They got their papers.
We went to school for this.
They went to school.
But
they study. They have their papers. So, and that's one thing that I love about, that I've been blessed, for this platform that is developing for me. Just very educated and very intellectual people, that have come into my lives that have so much to share. But because I'm not going to bring Pookie, who just has something to talk about. Okay. And I've had several people, hey, let me come on your show. Well, what are we doing?
I bet they say it just like that.
Well, hey, let me come on your show.
Let me come on your show.
Let me come on your show.
You talk about what?
And I've had folks tell me you need to have me on your show.
Oh. You know what? Let me sip to that.
And I respect, everybody has an opinion. I respect, all thoughts and all persons. But we try to bring, a level of reality, a level of realness, a level of education, so we can school the people, so we can school the culture, so our culture can continue to grow, intellectually and spiritually and artistically, whatever the case may be. Those are the platforms that I like to navigate on. That's just me, though. There are many kinds for many. So check them out, LeAnzarStockley.com, AngelSimmons.com. Check out these two movies, Malcolm and Marie, and Don't F with Cats. They're both on Netflix. Angel, I have another question for you because, once you guys start talking, I lose my format because you guys blow my mind every time. So I have stuff. I do have a lineup, y'all, for my viewers who are tuned in. I do have a lineup, but oftentimes when we start, conversing, it switches up. So you referred to the person with NPD and the five of the 9 characteristics. Can you
criteria?
Thank you. What are the 5 of the 9, or what are the 9? What do we need? What do I need to look for? I'm just going to speak for Brysen Williams. What do I need to be looking for?
9. Well, they have to have 5 of the 9. Any 5 of the 9. I'll give you a few. The rest, you can go get this book.
Oh,
if you want.
You have a book
you need
that
all
talks
of
about
them,
all of this.
It's, I list all 9 in here if you want this book. But a grandiose sense of self is one of them. Someone always, they're larger than life. They think they're bigger than they actually are, or more important than they actually are. Being superior to other people, having that sense of superiority, that means someone is always inferior. They can only talk to people who are on a certain level because nobody else understands them because of how important they are. Their needs are more important. They're more special than anyone else. A lot of these sound the same, but they have slightly different meanings. Lack of empathy was probably the surprise to me with lack of empathy, is because I thought all narcissists lacked empathy, but it's only one of the 9, which means a narcissist can have empathy. That's different from being an empath, and it's different from, showing compassion and things like that. But lack of empathy.
So, like, what's her name from she broke my man's ankles, Misery, Kathy Bates. So she was like, to me, and again, I'm not the professional, she had to have some type of level of narcissism because she was on that cat. And she would bust his ankles, but then she'd be like, I just want you to be okay. I just want what's best for you. I just want you, you'll be safe. I'd be like, how you bust somebody's ankles and then be like, I love you.
Sociopath, psychopath, narcissist, there's different levels. There's different levels to that. Typically, a narcissist is selfish, thinks they're more important, they're entitled. Sociopath, all of that, plus lacking social skills. They lack social skills. Psychopath, all of that, and they're dangerous. So psychopath, that's who you're describing right now. Someone who is dangerous. She's actually inflicting physical harm on someone. That would be, the category she falls in, not necessarily narcissist for her.
And she showed, you said she showed, like, at the end, she was like, oh, this is for your good, whatever.
Like, I know she would abuse him, and then she'd come comfort him and wipe his face and give him a little bit of food. Or
she's probably sociopath.
I've
never seen Misery. So she's more so sociopath.
So she's more of a sociopath.
The psychopath.
I would say psychopath. Well, you're right. But was it empathy? Was it empathy?
Well, if she had the ability to come back and say even that this is for your good, most psychopaths will not say this is for your good.
You're right. You're right.
So the sociopath can actually identify.
The meeting of the mind.
I'll give you that. Right. I'll give you that.
The sociopath can actually deal with guilt. Can actually feel guilt. Can actually see that somebody else was hurt by something. So whether it's going to last or whether it's going to be a true whatever is it may be a different story, but
Okay.
Yeah, it's a much different story.
Belitza, thank you. Don't F with Cats is based on the life of Luca Magnotta, true story, and it is based off a true story. It is based off a true story, so maybe that will give more encouragement to watch it. But it is based off a young man who just. I'll let you guys watch it. I don't want to give it away. Because it's like it's like straight to the chase, like when you turn it on. So I don't want to give it away. It's 3 episodes, but it takes off running. So I want to read this. I want your input because I just like to know you guys' thoughts, to be honest. And I like how you just break down and dissect things, and people need to hear these opinions from these different dynamics from different angles. This is not me. Again, I'm reading. Again, I am no poet. I am no spoken word artist. No nothing. I just push buttons and put people on shows.
I just spin records.
I just spin records. And I spin records too, right? I do that. I guess you just press play now, but
right.
Let me see. It says sometimes people are freaked out when they find out I'm not one dimensional and fitting into who they want me to be. God is forbid. I like that. God is forbid I have an expression other than happy, loving, or sweet. Wondering when I became so angry or so upset, or why I refuse to exhaust myself regurgitating the same information when they are too lazy to do the work themselves. Ooh. If that's all you expect from me, then you're in for a huge surprise, honey. It's time to wipe off those dirty lenses and see the whole me. Yes, all of me. And not just what you want to see or the image you have boxed me in to be. I know that some of y'all can't fathom this, but I urge you to not just tippy toe out of your comfort zones, but take a big ass leap and jump as if life depended on it, because it does. All of our lives do. I'm a multi-dimensional, phenomenal, badass brown woman, and I wouldn't have me any other way.
Mm. Mm.
I just want to let y'all know that I love the internet. The internet definitely has its perks, and just some of the things that you could see, some of the things that you can learn while peeling back the layers, trying to research. And this was another definitely a great piece that I came up on. What are your thoughts on this piece? Angel, you
In
go first.
relation thank you. In relation to narcissism,
You was going first
narcissism,
anyway, huh?
because we were just talking, yeah, because we were just talking about these characteristics, it made me think about there's one in particular about requiring excessive admiration. Another part of that is someone who is envious, arrogant, haughty behavior, things like that. Typically, once a narcissist has seen you have your own opinion or something that doesn't agree with them, that's where the conflict will start. When you start asking questions, it's not just about the supplier giving them attention, but you're questioning their behavior. And this is for friendships, and we're talking about narcissism. We're not just talking about romantic relationships. We're talking about bosses. We're talking about pastors. We're talking about
Yeah.
friends. We're talking about parents and siblings. So think about other
Ooh, them
dynamics.
eyeballs. Ooh, them eyeballs.
Right. Think of
Stepping on
other
toes.
relationships. Think about other types of relationships as we're, dissecting this for you. But if you're taking someone who is used to or who always wants your adoration, your admiration, they have to be here. They always have to be here. If you're asking questions, if you're getting promotions at work, if you're in the spotlight, and I think a lot about creatives when I think about narcissists for some reason. I don't know why, I just do. Open that door.
Right.
Open that door if you want to. But I think about someone who is excelling at their job. Or being awarded or doing well, and then their partner has an issue with this because they're supposed to get the spotlight. The attention should always be on them, and they want you to bow down, so to speak. So that's what I thought about with that poem. Took me back to Malcolm and Maria, because I remember one of those arguments was about how she stopped acting, and now he's producing or directing or whatever. And, she was talking about how good she was and how she would have been better in a certain role. And he took the time to bring her back down to make sure she understood. It wasn't going to be that way. And one of the points she made to him was, oh, so nobody can be in the spotlight, but you have to be the one in the spotlight. So that was the first thing I thought about with that poem.
Mr. Relationality.
And I think I took it. I think my thought was a person coming into an understanding of themselves. I took it more of a lot of things that I hear it more so I finally, in terms of things like that, I finally realize I'm learning who I am. And I think when you were reading, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking more so, not even so much her checking anybody else, but her recognize, or him, whoever wrote that. Right? Was it a lady or man? It was a lady, right?
Yes, a lady.
That. Yeah. So I took it more so as her realizing who she is.
Maybe
a lot of
breaking
times,
free.
Yes, yeah, more of from that standpoint of really breaking free, and realizing the depths of who she is, and saying, hey world, this is me. I'm introducing myself to you.
Allow
I don't
me
know
to
what you thought. I know
myself.
you've had other thoughts. I know you've had other whatever, because I even had them myself.
Yeah.
Right. But this is who I am.
Love it.
Yeah,
Love
this
it.
is, or at least this is who I am right now. This is, what if who I hope to be was always me? I love that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Ding, ding, ding. I'm going to my corner for a second.
Ding, ding, ding.
Yeah. Ding, ding, ding. Chile. So this is amazing. This is an amazing opportunity. I want to give you both an opportunity to talk about your works, um, especially your books, your websites, what people can look forward to from you, from your website, what they can search, research, um, what they can learn from you. So I'll let either one of you choose who wants to go first.
She's more important. Let her go first. She got so much stuff
Stop.
going on.
Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Well, there's the website. I am the
Come on, you
author
better
of
be on cue. You
projects.
better be on cue.
Come on, producers.
My first book, Love's Great Design, is a 52-week devotional.
52 weeks.
A 52-week devotional, uncovering the power and purpose of human relationship. This is for any and everybody. Look at that! Look at that! This is for any and everyone who's had any and every relationship. So this covers family, friendships, work, relations, romantic, marriage, everything. Gives you a message, action step, scripture, place to write. It's part book, part journal. So gives you some work to do. There's also a link to the podcast, the Message in 3, and the Message in 3 follows the book. So there's a story that goes with each week there. And the second project is Target of Love, came out last year. Target of Love, Surviving Narcissistic Abuse. This is a quick read, just giving you warning signs, red flags, what to look for, and survival tips. Also gives you resources if you need to get help. If you need to get help and you need to get out of a relationship, it gives you places to go. If you need counseling, recovery, therapy, there are resources to this as well. My next project dropping this year. I can't tell you which one because I don't know what's coming first. I'm working on 2 things. Undercover. Brysen is, she texts me once a month to ask me what I'm doing with it. But that's why you can't tell your friends everything, because
they're gonna hold you accountable.
Or at least you need friends that are gonna hold you accountable and text you every month and say, where's the next book? So if you go to my website, it gives you the description and the details of one of the next projects that'll be dropping this year. I am the producer and host of the Versus Vibes and Visions live lit series. Unfortunately, due to COVID-19, there was nothing after our February show last year. So we're hoping and praying that we'll be able to get something going for 2021. I might have to do something virtual. I don't know. What I know, the people want to show, so that's what I'm gonna give them. That's what we're working on right now. Um, that's it. That's all I got for you. That's all I got for you.
Just so everybody knows, that was like truly the amended version. Because she has so much more going on. But I got you. I got you, friend. I see you. I see you. I see
That's
you.
good.
Mr. Relationality.
She got a lot going on all the time. As far as I go, it's just my website is LeAnzarStockley.com. And many of the things, which as you can see, the producers have put it on some people in that control room. The people in the control room is the
control
business.
room, boy. I'm telling you.
Right. But anyway, so that's the website that has a list of the different services and different things I provide as a relationality specialist, which includes weddings and, marrying people and doing just counseling for individuals and couples and groups and stuff like that, workshops for enlightened relationships and things like that. I have two books currently out. All right. So it's 3 books, but 2 currently out. One is relationality, consciously the glare is whatever. But anyway, relationality, consciously aligning to our divine relational worth. This is somewhat of, I would consider, the Bible of relationality from me. All right, so that one is available, and then the other one is Relationship Ready. My books are so nicely on the shelf. Like Relationship Ready, and this is for people that are single and want to get in a relationship, or people that's already in a relationship and trying to figure out how to move their relationship to a more enlightened place.
Show it again.
Yeah.
Because you did do it real quick. It was like.
Oh, did I? All right, so that's Relationship Ready.
Is that the velvety cover?
This is the yeah.
The velvety cover.
This the one you want to read when you're in
the
bed. Yeah.
Wait,
yeah.
That's a whole nother thing right there. Relationship Ready, velvet cover.
Look,
come on.
But unlike Miss Simmons, I never plan to write any extra books. All right, so
he never plans to do anything.
Never plans.
And that's true. And that's true. I do operate more so that way. If I planned it, it probably won't get done. So I just kind of go with what I sense to do. But in addition to that, I am working on trying to get a masterclass together for relationality. I've had quite a few people that have just talked about how just some of the little Facebook posts or different things have I guess blessed them. So I'm trying to figure out or trying to work on doing a relationality masterclass. I may do a relationality master chat first, and then to do
is this like a virtual conference?
One would be something like that, or even just a class or doing some of the workshops and stuff that are there. But I'm working on it. When I say working on it, I mean I'm working on it here first, like working on getting myself to be like, okay, yeah, go ahead and do it. All right, because I'm usually very hesitant to do so. Because one, I don't want to give people nothing they don't want. So otherwise, it's a waste of time. All right. So, and again, like I said, I know that this is for people who are relationality services are people who are looking to have an enlightened relationship. If you're looking for wisdom based on this current programming that's really highly based in just karmic relationships and just these cycles, I'm not the one. So that's why I said it would be more so like relationality masterclass. But that's pretty much all that I got going on right now, unless I hear something different, to happen. For those people who are interested, I also have a Patreon for those that like to just support the work, where you can just be on there and you pay a little monthly fee. I think the lowest one is like $3, but it gives you access. It gives you a little bit for depending on what tier you're on, gives you access to me, and even personal sessions are included in.
I didn't know you had a Patreon page, friend.
Yeah. www.patreon.com/right Society61. Yep, and it's very light. I don't flood people, with a whole bunch of notifications every day. I try to do 2, 3, maybe 4 things, and they're very simple things a month. And then, like I said, the biggest part of it is people who really support relationality work. To support me in doing what I do. And then also they do have a little different level of access to me that other people may not have.
And let's not forget your I Am Love for You brand,
Oh,
as well as your clothing line.
yeah. So the I Am Love for You, there's, we got shirts and whatever, because that's a whole movement that I believe we all need to embrace. Just recognizing that we are love for people, and we don't just have it, but we are that, because it holds us to another level of accountability. And as a matter of fact, somebody just, this is it, messaged me yesterday and said that I've been following your movement, and I said, "Oh, nice to hear you say that," and said, "I want to bless you." So they asked for the cash app and sent the blessing.
Oh,
Right. So that was a wonderful, and it was a wonderful blessing. I thought it was going to be cheeseburger blessing, and it was it was
it was a steak. It was a steak dinner
blessing.
it was more than a steak dinner. It was more than a steak dinner. I could take a few people to a steak dinner with it. So it was really nice. It was really nice.
Yeah,
but that whole little movement, right? And Brysen won't let me get away without mentioning www.underneathbyzar.com, where you can get your draws. And right now we only do men's underwear, specialized in men's underwear, but you can get some men's underwear for your intimate times with yourself or with your boo. Or if you just feel like taking some pictures or something. www.underneathbyzar, which is ZAHR.com.
Come on, control room.
Right.
So what makes your underwear brand unique? What makes you different from Hanes or Fruit of the Loom?
It's got my name on it.
There it is.
No, but one of the things that makes it unique, though, honestly, is I try to a lot of it right now is private label, so I don't get to do all of the full designs myself. However, I try to find underwear that are breathable, comfortable, healthy, and also a little sexy. Many people don't talk about the whole health aspect of underwear.
And can you elaborate on that? I was just going to say, like, what are healthy underwear for men? That's good to know. Seriously.
There's various different things for some people. Like some guys could use, if you're having issues down there, you could use underwear that actually have copper infused in the fibers. That can actually help with especially some of y'all that's trying to make babies and stuff like that and get that together. So that's kind of good. But also just breathable, more so breathable. Guys sometimes have a lot of issues with sweat in that area. And so you want underwear that's what do you call it? Wicking, wet wicking. So it'll pull the moisture away from your body or whatever. So I look for stuff like that, hypoallergenic stuff, and also bamboo. A lot of my items are bamboo fibers, which is good. So bamboo, cotton, those are really good for that area. And then we're also getting into some that'll have dual pouches. So the dual pouches will keep the guys from, you can separate, so you don't have to have your Johnson stuck to your other part, so they can sit into their own pouches.
You separate the beans and Franks.
Is not stuck to your Benson. So it'll be two different compartments. Okay.
Yeah. So it's different styles have different things, but that's those are the kind of things I try to look for to bring a certain sense of uniqueness, because otherwise you can just go to Walmart and pick up a pair of Hanes.
Yeah, some tidy whities or something. That's amazing. That's amazing. And men's health.
So when does the women's line drop?
I think is this thing on? I think the thing is static and a little.
It's on, all right.
Oh man, I gotta call you guys back. Women is a whole other ball game, so we got to get these men going real good, and then we can throw in some.
See, Adam, and then Eve. You know how it goes.
Yes. Well, Adam has had merchandise for a while now. Eve is waiting on some boy shorts and a sports bra. I mean, come on.
That may be some of the first things we've been able to look at. They seem easier. They may be easier. Right. They may be easier to do. But we'll see. Because eventually we want to go where all of Underneath Bazaar is custom. All right. So like high-end custom, where it's literally like you go get a tailor-made suit, you have tailor-made draws.
And then you can make them for the little babies. They could be little baby niece.
Yeah.
Babies are.
Babies ours.
Yeah.
Baby little underoos. That'll be nice. Amazing. So again, everybody.
Underoos.
Underoos.
I'm about to keep your eye on that.
See what you did there.
See? I told you guys that,
Activity.
my friends are amazingly intelligent and also good looking. And I hope that somebody has, maybe had a light bulb go off, or maybe had some of their questions answered, or maybe it piqued some questions for you. And if it did, feel free to go to both their websites, angelsimmons.com, LeAnzarStockley.com, and reach out to them. Um, if you know me directly and you feel more comfortable reaching out to me and you want to send a message through me, by all means do so. Um, you can find me on Facebook, Brysen Williams. You can find me on Instagram at the original Brysen, and or my email, BrysonWilliams01 at gmail.com. Shout out to my boy Will. Check his show out. He has an awesome and amazing. There he is. Thank you, Angel, for highlighting that. He has an amazing sports show that broadcasts every Wednesday via Be in the Mix. Sportsman's Cafe. Check out Will Clark. Um, do you guys want to share your social media? I know we covered everything else, but we didn't give out your social media. Do you guys want to share your handles so people can maybe connect with you? Maybe not, maybe a little more, I guess, indirectly.
Yeah, you
I
can
am
reach. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
Loves
we like
Great
on the
Design.
view.
Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Loves Great Design. Angel Simmons. Just look for my name, and it's pretty much the same where you go.
For me on Facebook and Twitter, it's just LeAnzar, or Facebook is LeAnzar Stockley. I'm the only one on there. So, and then for Instagram, you can get me at Society61, SOULCIETY 61, or my personal one is at LionZar, LIONZAR. Both of those are for Instagram. And then, and for the underwear, it's at underneath underscore by underscore ZAHR. That's IG as well.
Amazing. Before we go,
Oh, and on my Snapchat, that's where I get naked. No, I'm
Feel
just playing.
free. Like,
he ain't he ain't lying. And on my,
yeah.
I got Snapchat too. I don't
And for
even
my
know. I don't
nude
even
and
know
for
my
my
Twitter.
nude prints, you got to go to models. No, I mean it is true, but yeah, let's go.
Wait.
And for his OnlyFans page, you go to
For the OnlyFans, right?
hello somebody.
Oh
For the
my
OnlyFans,
goodness.
you have to go to www.patreon.com/Society61.
/
Too much.
Y'all the best. Y'all the best.
Too
This has
much.
been this has been a great gathering, a great moment of conversation. What about my love? With Miss Angel Simmons, certified grief and loss coach, LeAnzar Stockley, certified relationality specialist. What about my love? Make sure your love does not go unnoticed. Make sure your efforts do not go unnoticed, but make sure it's balanced, and make sure don't require that which you aren't willing to give yourself. That
Come on.
was kind of the whole point of this meeting of the minds tonight. You fell in love with my flowers, not my roots. So when autumn arrived, you didn't know what to do. You fell in love with my sunshine, not with my sky. So when the darkness came, you disappeared from view. You fell in love with my waves, not my sea. So when the water diminished, you did too. You fell in love with my leaves. I fell for your whole tree. So when the ground began to break, I did too. What about my love? Angel Simmons, LeAnzar Stockley. I'm Brysen. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. This was great. This was great. Final words. All minds clear?
All minds clear. My final words is, folks, listen, love with the very core essence of your being. It's the only way to really do it. You might get hurt here and there, but what you will be grateful for is that when your days are over, you live this life to its fullest, and you live this life being your full, authentic self.
I will say
That's a great example.
pay attention to your body. Not just what your heart is telling you, but your mind and your body as well. Your spirit will shake you when something is not right. So never ignore that prompting. Make sure you are always in the healthiest of situations. Never be afraid to remove yourself from a situation ship or an entanglement ship that is not healthy for you. Um, Remain
Know your
ever
worth.
aware of what your limitations, your boundaries, your standards, whatever you want to call it. Make sure you know what your authentic self is, so that you will always be walking in it. And as soon as you step outside of that, you'll know something is wrong. Your spirit will tell you when something is off. So make sure you trust yourself. Trust yourself more than you trust your heart, because the heart is deceitful above all things.
Mm,
What the word says.
that's a
What the
whole.
that's
That's a
Bible.
that's
Bible.
a whole nother show.
That's another
That's a
show.
whole.
Another show. But we're promoting health and wellness. So even your relationships need to be healthy and for the well-being of everybody involved. So we want to make sure that you're taking care of your soul, as much as you're taking care of other people. Sometimes you can do both at the same time.
So for
Sometimes they
everyone
go
who's tuned in, make sure you stay tuned in and look out for us because we're going to do more partnerships um, throughout the year. I don't have dates. Whenever the feeling strikes is when we get together, but it strikes often, so who knows? Just stay tuned. Uh, and we appreciate all who have tuned in. Make sure you stay connected. AngelSimmons.com, LeAnzarStockley.com. I thank you both. Everybody have a great night. We out.
Peace.
peace.